Hey everybody, what's up? This is Madden Tycoon. You may know me from playing Madden on Twitch, but there's about a month until Madden 17, so I am going to get involved in Pokemon Go for the next month or so, and I figured I would teach you guys everything I learn as I go. So I've been playing for about a week, and I've come up with a basic strategy guide to get you started. So if you're just starting out, I made a lot of mistakes the first week. If you watch this video, you should be able to avoid most of those mistakes and start playing as close to optimal Pokemon Go as possible. So anyway, this is episode 1-1, the basics. In future episodes, I'm going to be walking around my area of town and just kind of showing you some of the best spots in this area, which is Spokane kind of area. But anyway, this video will be great for anybody because it'll show you like kind of how to scope out your area and just kind of get the best thing going. So anyway, first, why do you want to play Pokemon Go? A lot of people are like, okay, this game's the newest fad. It's kind of dumb. All right, but there's some good reasons you might want to play. So the reason I play is I've always thought that running and walking kind of was just boring and purposeless, and I mean, it's probably the best way to lose weight is running and walking. This game basically gives you a reason to run. Like, it makes it so there's objectives, you run around and you can actually like improve stats on your, like, it helps you hatch eggs, it helps you get more like resources. So that's a huge plus for me. It's gotten me into running and walking for the first time in a long time. Two, you get to meet all kinds of people. A lot of the Pokestops are optimal and everyone knows it, so there'll be a lot of people gathered around to get the resources. You can meet some of them. It's a really good conversation starter if you're both playing a game and it's obvious. See parts of town you didn't know existed, like that waterfall. Like, I never knew that was there, so I got a good picture of that. Four, it's possible they'll let you trade at some point, and any games with markets are exploitable, you know, theoretically for real money. Just a thought. But for me, I'm mostly into it because it's giving me a purpose for walking and running, which I've never had before. So you'll need some stuff to get started. This is another mistake the first couple days. I didn't get sunscreen the first day. I just got like blasted. So sunscreen is very important. You probably want a map of the town that you live in, so you can kind of mark down where gyms are and some of the best like mining locations. We'll get into that a little bit later. You're going to want a notebook, so you just kind of take notes as you go. Phone chargers. This game will destroy your phone battery. So I went and got 4 portable phone chargers. I think 2 is probably fine. You definitely want like a long charging cable so you can put the charger in your pocket and carry the phone in your hand. So I would say at least 4 feet would be good. 6 probably better. It's not bad to carry some portable like wall chargers so that if you end up at a location, like if you know, eat a meal somewhere, you might be able to plug in your phone into like a wall. It's good to have a water bottle around. You want a hat also so you don't have to put sunscreen like right on top of your eyes. A backpack's good so you can carry everything around. Pencils so you can take notes. Those are the basics. If you guys think of anything else, let me know in the comments. So again, backpack, hat and sunscreen, water bottle, map of the town, notebook, pencils, portable phone chargers, and like about a 6-foot USB cable should be good. All right, so phase 1, scouting. So basically you want to get a lay of the land in your location. So the first thing, and I'm going to mention this a lot, is it safe? So like if there's a good mining location, but it's like a kind of sketchy like area, you might just be best to avoid it and find like another place in town that's less dangerous. So things you want to kind of look for are, you want to see how many Pokestops are within a 5-minute walk around. So what a Pokestop is it's a little location in town where you walk by it and you get resources like Pokeballs, raspberries, eggs, that kind of stuff, healing potions. So you want to find a mining location that has a lot of those. So you can just kind of walk around in some sort of like path that allows you to get as many resources as possible. So how many are within 5 minutes of each other? Because they reset every 5 minutes. So what you're basically looking to set up is a loop where you can just kind of go from stop to stop and spin the Pokestops. You also want to know how many are within like a 10-minute, because there's some that like you can go one way and it's really nice in 5 minutes, but then by the time you get back to the first one, there's nothing you can do in between. So you want to kind of find like almost like a circular pattern where you can just go like boom, 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 and then just keep the loop going. You also want to do that in an area where there's a lot of Pokemon, because there's a lot of areas with a lot of Pokestops, but no Pokemon pop up. So that's another thing you want to know, because you want to do your Pokestops and catching your Pokemon at about the same time. You also want to know how good your cell service is in the area. There's a lot of parks with really good like numbers of Pokemon and Pokestops, but my cell phone service is not very good there. So you'll go up to the Pokestops and they'll give you an error message. That's really not good. So you need to kind of find a place that works really well with your provider. And that varies depending on your provider, obviously. You also want to go places where there's other people to meet. Part of the game is about getting out and meeting people, having fun. And then, is the location interesting otherwise? So like if it's like a really ugly, street corner or something, like you might have more fun, like, park where, there's lots of like things you can take pictures of and stuff like that. So those are the kind of things you want to think out when you're thinking of your mining locations. And gyms, you also want to kind of scout out where all the gyms are. So again, number one, is it safe? Like you don't want to be sitting there battling a gym while people are like stealing your car, you know what I mean? So that's important to think of. Make sure that if you're going on a gym run, you're doing it in like, a neighborhood that you feel is safe. You're also looking to see like, is it like, are there really strong creatures protecting the gym all the time? You really don't want to. One of the things about gym battles, you really don't want to go up against big, well-defended gyms. You want to find ones that are like kind of out of the way and like not very well defended. What team controls it most of the time? Sometimes it's better if your opponents control the gyms, because sometimes it's easier to take over a gym that's not very well defended than, try to train against your own gym. So that's another thing to consider. Is it always changing possession, or is it left alone for long periods? It's always good to find gyms that are left alone for long periods, because if you can accumulate a bunch of gyms at once, it's good to have people not resetting them every time you take one. Are there specific players hell-bent on holding a location? So you also don't want to go up against someone who's like really insistent on holding. Like if someone really wants a gym, let them have it. There are like hundreds of gyms within a few miles of where you live, probably. Just let them have one if they're insistent on it, and go on to the next one. Is it on a practical route? So you don't really want to go to gyms that are way out of your way, like from home to work or whatever. It just doesn't make much sense. And then 7, is it accessible? That's a really big one, because there's a lot of gyms where, you can walk right up next to it and like it'll still say that you're not there. Again, if your service isn't very good in the area, it can warp you away from the gym on your GPS during the battle, which will cancel the battle. Really annoying. So those are kind of things you want to think about when looking for gyms. All right, so phase 2. So this is going to be the mining phase of the game. So once you know where all your premium mining locations are and your good gyms, get into the actual playing of the game. So mining is the first phase. I would do the mining completely separately from the gym battles. We'll get into gym battles in a bit. So mining. All right, so here's the basics. So a Pokestop will appear on your map as one of those blue things you see in the background. When you get right up next to it, within about a few yards, I think you got to be within about 6 or 7 yards for it to work. You go ahead and click on the Pokestop you're closest to. It should turn into a circle. It'll bring up one of these circles. So all you got to do is swipe across the circle, and it'll give you a bunch of resources, anywhere from like 3 to 7. You can get Pokeballs, you can get raspberries, which help you catch Pokemon. You get healing potions, and you can get eggs. And what eggs do is you can walk around and hatch them. I think there's a section on that coming up. All right, when you get in the actual Pokemon battles, what you want to do is you want to drag upward towards the Pokemon and let go. The further up the screen you go, the further you'll throw it. So if you go about halfway up the screen, I think that's about as far as you can accurately throw it. If you go past that, the balls start to drift to the left or right and miss. So like a short throw would be about a quarter of the way up, and about halfway up for about the longest throw. And then I'll go into more detail when I get better at this. I compare it to like making 3 free throws, and I think I've gotten up to about 60 or 70%, which to me is not very good. I'm sure you could do better. I also don't know for sure if you want the circle to be small or big. I've heard a lot of people say you want it to be small. I'm doing some math on that to figure out which is better. So that's going to be in upcoming videos. Eggs. So as you collect Pokestops, you'll collect eggs. And they give you incubators as you level up. You start off with one you can use infinitely, so it doesn't ever wear out. You want to put your smallest egg in that one. So if you have a 2-kilometer egg, which I think is the smallest available, put it in the infinite one. If you get extra ones, use that for your longest path egg. So 10 kilometers is the highest I've seen. So put your 10 kilometers in the ones that expire. So that way, you'll use them fewer times. And it won't count any movement over 10 to 15 miles an hour, so you can't really drive around effectively to count as time. And of course, there's probably ways to hack it. If you have a way, let me know in the comments. I'd be curious. I might try to come up with some things that work. But yeah, I don't know if it makes much sense. I think if you do this, the normal strategy, you'll get plenty of eggs hatching because you'll be walking, or you'll be walking most of the time, and that'll help. All right, so phase 3 gym battles. So this is interesting. I think a lot of people are doing this part wrong. But here's the basics. To attack an opposing gym, get within a few yards of it. Again, I think you got to be within about 8 yards of what they consider the location. This part can be really hard. And then you hit the button in the lower right. And then if you go up to a friendly gym, there will be another indicator to the left of that X at the bottom of the screen. You hit that button, it'll let you add a Pokemon, and then you become a defender of that gym. And that's important. You can also train at a friendly gym. I haven't found it much of an advantage to doing it so far, but again, I haven't had very high level Pokemon, so once you get them, it might become advantageous. If I get better at that, again, we'll go into that later. And if you know why that's a good idea, let me know in the comments as well. All right, and then if you are attacking an opposing gym, it'll ask you to select 6 Pokemon to battle. Ones with high combat points is a good choice usually. Knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the defending Pokemon is really useful. There's several resources online. If you just select like Pokemon Go, strengths and weaknesses, you should be able to get a lot of cheat sheets. You probably want to carry one of those cheat sheets around with you so that when you go to start a battle, you know which type is super effective against others, and vice versa. Once you get into battle, I found the best strategy for me so far is you just tap on the opposing Pokemon as fast as you can, and then as soon as one of your attacks charge up, hold the button down, wait for it to say you've performed your move, and then go and start tapping again. A lot of times I'll hold it until it looks like it's full and then let go too early. You just want to hold it down until it says your character is performing a certain move or whatever, and then go back to tapping. That works pretty well for me. Let's see. I think you can dodge too. I don't usually do it. I'm sure there's a better strategy for that. And again, leave it in the comments if you got a good battle strategy. We'll get into that more later when I get better. All right. So here's the important thing. When you go to the shop in the upper right corner, it has a little shield with the number of gyms you are a defender at. So you can only click on that to receive rewards once a day. So for each gym you control, you get 500 Stardust, and Stardust helps you level up Pokemon, and you get 10 coins. So a good strategy is to hold as many gyms at once per day as possible. So let me go through what I wrote here. So yeah, so you can only do it once per day. Attacking opposing gyms wastes valuable healing items, so you should only do it once per day so that you're not wasting resources. Because a lot of people just attack gyms whenever they see them. But if you've got time on this clock, you won't be able to collect. I would say the average gym holds for about 30 minutes to an hour. So you really want to go around and attack as many gyms as possible in the shortest amount of time possible. So you want to maybe attack 10 gyms and then quickly take your points after the 10th gym. And then don't attack any more gyms until your timer counts all the way down. So this is like a once a day activity if you want to do it properly. A lot of people just attack gyms throughout the day. It just wastes resources. There's no reason to do it. All right, so next, final thoughts. All right, so this is a dangerous game to play if you're not careful. There's really not much advantage to playing the game while you're driving or working, because if you're like driving and you're trying to like hit a Pokemon, all right, most importantly, it's unsafe for when you're driving. But secondly, if you're trying to hit a Pokemon while you're driving, like you're really not going to be able to be as accurate as you normally would. So you're going to waste a lot of resources. So it really is not a net positive to play while you're driving anyway. But yeah, just don't drive around and play the game. It's dangerous. Um, in future videos, I'm going to go more in depth on the strategy. I'm still kind of learning as I'm going. So let's see. I'm also going to show you in future videos some great mining locations around the Spokane area. So check back on those. It's going to be fun. So anyway, good luck. Stay safe, most importantly, and catch them all. And we'll see you on the next one.